with 200, and Christopher Judge and I talked about this in a fair bit of detail, and I'm really interested in your thoughts. And you alluded to this just at the beginning, where it was, how are we going to do this? You know, I mean, the number of sequences that are in this thing, and what Chris said was that, and maybe you can piggyback off of this, was that every department just brought their A game.
Yeah.
They knew what they were getting into. What they were getting into was a gift anyway, because the show has lasted for 10 seasons. So this is a chance to send a love letter back to the fans, thanking them for allowing you guys to still be on the air for that long.
Yeah, very much. And I mean, here's the extent that it actually shows you that everybody brought their A game. Rick showed up for scenes that he was invisible in.
That's right. He had a green skirt, like thing on.
He had the green suit on, and he's like, he was there for the shower scene, and we don't
he
even
just
see
says,
where you.
He just says nope.
Like, I'm here, and
that's funny.
And he wanted to be there for the chair turning scene right at the beginning, and I'm like, you don't have to, Rick. And then he insisted on being in the walking down the hall. I got a coffee cup, and I got this. And that was such a pain in the butt for the guys, because they actually ended up making a new coffee cup. The one that he had, they couldn't use. So, but yeah, he's walking down the hall, and I have pictures of him walking down the hall with Chris. And it's a hysterical scene because he was there.
What was your? Would that have been your favorite besides the puppets, or were some of there's? I think the teen one is hysterical. I think that's so funny.
Yeah, that one was funny. I wasn't as familiar with One Tree Hill at the time, and that's sort of what it was based on, was that kind of feeling. And so I didn't embrace that one the way that I did with sort of the I loved the the planet exploding
with the furlings.
The furlings,
you introduce them and then you kill them.
The furlings to me were hysterical, because it was a husband and wife team that played them, and they were so funny. And the other one was the Farscape one that I had so much fun with, because we had Ben there and Claudia, and just being able to do the Farscape bit was very funny.
Whose idea was it to reverse Michael and Ben, so that Ben was no longer playing Crichton? I think that Ben was originally supposed to play Crichton, because Vala plays Aaron.
I'm not sure whose idea it was. I would give it to Brad, but it could have been any one of them in the room, I think. That sort of went, oh, this is going to be hilarious. And Brad playing the engineer.
Because Paul McGillion wasn't available,
and that was on the day. It was me looking at Brad going, and him going, oh, I can't. It's like, come on. And he goes, I'll do it. And it's like, it was very funny. It was very funny. And I mean, all of that stuff, everything we did was so much fun to do. And knowing that it was being made for the audience that loved the show, every time you do a show, you see, we don't want to alienate anybody with us. You want new viewers to come in and watch it.
Of course.
On 200, it was like, the only people that are going to really get this, that are going to understand the depth of this humor, are the fans that really love this show.
Exactly.
And the reaction I've had so many times from people who knew the show, I mean, all your fans, has always been this very positive energy coming for it. And people that didn't know the show, when I say, oh, you got to watch 200, they go, really? What was that all about? I didn't understand. And then you go, well, you wouldn't understand unless you saw 100, unless you saw, unless you knew the backstory with the Furlings and things like this, you wouldn't get half the jokes that were in there.
Jack and Sam getting married, and perhaps Jack and Daniel instead getting married with the shippers and the slashers.
Yeah, and that scene again, where we were able to bring all the people that had been in all the audience for it, was all the people who had been with the show from the beginning. And you start looking at everybody, wow, we've spent 10 years together. It was pretty cool.
What about the Wizard of Oz? sequence.
That was funny. There's a place in Burnaby called Central Park, and when we were sort of location scouting for a number of different things, I was looking for the sort of the yellow brick road kind of feeling to it. And I also needed to shoot a bunch of other things. That whole chase with the replicators.
The replicators, yeah.
That giant crane shot that sweeps across the ground and chases our guys. And I shot, Tilk at the gate when they come through and their strings are cut. That's also.
Oh, so you're doing all those elements at that.
I'm shooting all those elements at one time, and the One Tree Hill stuff too.
That's right.
Version of it was a lot of it was shot there. But when I came around the corner and I looked and there's this little windy road this little windy path. I thought, oh, I know where we're going to shoot this. Then I know where we can crash the ship. And it was that was another one where, because we constantly made the Wizard of Oz connections, it really had to be in this in 200. And again, that's one of those things that the true fans are going to know, and everybody else is going to go, well, why did they choose Wizard of Oz? I understand why you chose Farscape. I understand why you did, but why did you choose
20 Wizard of Oz references throughout the show?
Yeah,
there's a lot of subtle ones.
Yeah, and a lot of it was Amanda coming up with stuff like that, and then and the writers writing stuff in, and the actors just grabbing onto it and going, yeah, let's use these references.
Just craziness. Yeah. I am thrilled that you guys did it, that you had the budget to pull something like that off, and I think it will continue to go down as like one of the top 10 of the show, because of we all know what it is that you're doing, and you guys do it so well, and that's just you're just sending us a kiss.
Yeah, that, I mean, truthfully, 200 and Lost City were the two that we spent a massive amount of money on, and they had the money to make them what they needed to make them.
Lost City, very much. I wanted to talk about this one because in some respects it's 4 episodes. It's Lost City 1 and 2, and then it's Rising 1 and 2. They all fold together.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about? Because for a long time, that we had, and I was on the news side of this at this point. There were rumors about the Stargate feature film, the Stargate movie. We're gonna finish the show and do a movie. And Lost City, in my understanding, was many of the elements in that were from one of the proposed outlines that was potentially going to be the movie. Had season 5 ended and with the threat of Anubis, and that was it.
Right.
So tell us about creating that with the team.
I mean, that was for me, Lost City was its own entity. I wasn't thinking about Atlantis at the time.
Okay.
I don't think a lot of people were thinking about Atlantis at the time, because Lost City was so big. And the mechanics of what was going to be Rising 1 and 2 wasn't solidified yet when we were into what Lost City was going to be. So for me, Lost City just needed to be this denouement kind of feeling to what SG1 was doing, until they found sort of this was like finding, a new planet within, walking distance.
Thanks for watching this clip from Dial the Gate. If you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up. It's our goal to share a new Stargate story every day while we're on break. Please feel free to subscribe to future episodes here on YouTube. And if you have Stargate friends who might like this clip, let them know about us. Be sure to visit dialthegate.com to view the complete archive, as well as transcripts from past interviews. I'll see you on the other side.